What's happening, my friends? Jason Woodland back again with Always the Journey TV. This time, episode number 35. Thank you so much for joining us. I sincerely appreciate you dedicating your time to watching these interviews and learning more about people within our community. The whole idea here is to spotlight people out there doing their amazing work within their business, their jobs, their art, their side hustles, their event space, and everything in between. So again, thank you. I always like to ask my interviewees what is one of their favorite small businesses out there, one of the restaurants or coffee shops and so forth. And today's small business shout out is Ittos, spelled Ittos, Sushi. It's located at 856 Fort Union Boulevard in Midvale, Utah. So today I'm really excited about introducing to you a great friend, Tom Richter. He's very professional guy, great background, has done a ton of amazing things out there in the community. And I wanted to let you know a little bit about some of his background before we bring him on to the show. So Tom grew up in Nebraska and lived in a farming community. He has 5 brothers, 2 sisters. One sister passed away of cancer at age 50. After high school, Tom moved to Utah and attended Westminster College and originally studied nursing and wanted to become a nurse practitioner. They lost their accreditation, and Tom left the program. He later received his Bachelor of Science of Business Administration from University of Phoenix. Tom then spent 21 years of his working life in corporate America at Zellerbach Paper Company. Tom held several positions ranging from operations, sales, marketing, and sales management on a local, regional, and national level. In 1999, after 3 mergers and acquisitions and a hostile takeover, Tom left Zellerbach and purchased the rights to JanPro for the state of Utah. JanPro is a franchise commercial cleaning company. JanPro Systems International is currently ranked as the #1 fastest growing franchise and ranked in Entrepreneur Magazine for 13 years running. JanPro is now in 9 countries and 140 cities worldwide. In his role as regional franchise developer in Utah, Tom mentors people on starting their own commercial franchise cleaning business under the JanPro Cleaning and Disinfecting franchise brand. JanPro of Utah currently has 70 franchise owners in the state of Utah, and they clean over 500 buildings. These franchise owners employ 250 plus people here in the state alone. Earlier this year, Tom founded Elevate One Life, which is a nonprofit organization. Tom has a very strong passion for helping people and feels that forming this nonprofit, Elevate One Life, is a way to fulfill his dream. Tom is married to Carol and has been for 37 years. He has 2 children, Ryan and Jessica, and he really enjoys spending time with his grandson Noah as well. Tom's hobbies include travel, golf, hiking, motorhome camping, and traveling pre-COVID and helping others. He is currently involved in a multitude of amazing community associations, ranging everywhere from Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce, South Valley Chamber of Commerce, Utah Black Chamber, Governor's Office of Economic Development, Economic Development Council of Utah, Associated General Contractors of Utah, Building Owners and Managers Association, International Facility Managers Association, and Connect Utah. I'm going to be placing all of this within the body of the YouTube, under the video, that is, so you can see all of these details. But anyway, without further ado, I'd love to introduce my awesome friend, Tom Richter. What's happening, my man?
Thanks, Jason, for that very nice introduction. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's good. I'm glad you're here. I decided to continue on with my motif of this sunset because we've got snow going on outside. So,
yeah, we'd all like to be at a beach right now, I'm sure.
I totally agree with that. So I'm so excited to have you on the show today. And obviously, your business is absolute. I mean, all businesses are imperative, right? But your business has been a linchpin, especially during 2020 with everything going on. But before we dive into some of those details, I'd like to learn a little bit about what your original inspiration was of getting into this type of business all to begin with.
Yeah, after leaving Zellerback Paper Company in early 1999, one of my previous bosses had bought JanPro of Tampa. And knowing that I was probably going to leave much like he did, he said, "Why don't you come down to Tampa and visit our opening and you can meet the founder, Jack LaPointe." And so I did that and learned very quickly that our value systems, mine and my wife, Carol, and Jack LaPointe, the founder, were in sync. And I came home from that trip and said to Carol, I think this is what we're supposed to do. I don't think I'm supposed to go work for anybody else. And that coupled with when I looked around, all my siblings, except for one, was doing their own business. And if you think about our parents being the ideal entrepreneur, being farmers, right? Maybe not the ideal, but the quintessential entrepreneur. It just made sense for me that I wasn't supposed to go to work for anybody else, and we're supposed to start on our own gig here in Utah.
Nice. And how many years ago was that now?
21.
21 years.
Yep. So in May we'll start our 22nd year, I guess. So.
Congratulations. That's an amazing feat. Over 20 years.
Yeah. So 20 years corporate America, 20 years as an entrepreneur. And I think this will be the last horse I ride.
Nice. Well, it's, it's an extremely important business that you're running. So let's go ahead and transition now. I want to know more specifically about your business. So what is it that you do with JanPro? What does JanPro do?
Yeah, so our role as a regional franchise developer for JanPro is to mentor people on starting their own commercial cleaning business under the JanPro name. And so in that process, we train them. We go get their clients for them, so they don't need to do any sales and marketing. We also assist them operationally in doing inspections and startups, provide them feedback, act as a liaison between themselves and the client. And then we actually do their invoicing and carry their accounts receivable and do their collections for them. So that's our basic model for JanPro, and it's proven to be pretty effective as you stated earlier.
Yeah, I'd say definitely. So then as far as JanPro itself goes, what does JanPro do?
So we're a basic janitorial firm. We clean office space and different banks and credit unions and medical facilities and manufacturing and automobile dealerships and things of that nature. But your basic janitorial services to prepare that building and create a safe and healthy environment for the employees of that company and any clients that might frequent that facility.
Nice. And so let me ask this: is there such thing as something that's too small or too big for the franchise owner to be able to come in and clean?
Not really. I mean, we do have minimums for once a week service. It's $225 for once a week service, but we clean everything from once a week to 7 days a week. Many of our buildings are 3-5 days a week pretty frequently. And so, no, nothing's really too small. If the customer's values a good quality clean, is willing to pay the right price, then we'll figure out a way to go do that for them.
Okay. Absolutely. And is it all commercial, or do you do any residential at all as well?
JanPro is just commercial. All commercial cleaning.
Okay, great. And then is there anything in the commercial space that you just hands down don't mess with at all?
Yeah, so there are a couple of customer segments that we don't participate in, one being fast food. Most of their employees do that. And then big box retail, we're not doing any Home Depot or Target stores at this point.
Okay.
So those are the two primary segments that we don't currently participate in.
Okay, perfect. So so your organization is going to be the perfect fit for the company or the organization that may have an office building or some warehouse and so forth, and they need to have a professional outfit come in and just do an overall clean. And that cleaning, tell me what all the cleaning actually includes.
So our basic services are dusting, vacuuming, emptying the garbage, cleaning the restrooms, doing some glass work on the front entrance and such. There are certain tasks that we do each night, and then periodic tasks that we're spreading out on a weekly basis and a monthly basis to ensure proper total clean of that facility.
Okay, great. And if an office owner needed their plants cleaned after hours, is that something you guys can add as part of the service or no?
We do. We have a number of different one-time cleans we call special services, whether that's carpet cleaning, window washing, pressure washing, tile and grout restoration. But yeah, we clean fridges out. We do some plant cleaning. We'll do some special cleans. Oftentimes people will want a deep clean in the spring to refresh their building. And so a number of different one-off services that we'll do. I figure if they're cutting a check to somebody else, I want that check. That just helps eliminate some of the competition, right?
Oh, that's funny. Well,
and you laugh at that, but in my days at Zellerback, we called it single source of supply, and we had several of those contracts with several of our companies that we dealt with, and we did everything for them basically.
Well, plus it's it can be really convenient for the client as well, where they're not having to outsource 5 or 6 or 7 different people to come in and do things. They can sort of one fell swoop with your organization.
Yeah, as long as we're market competitive, it lowers their overall total cost of procurement in actuality by dealing with one vendor that can handle multiple services.
Nice.
In one invoice. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to ask you regarding JanPro is that not only do you guys specialize in commercial cleaning, but you guys are also specializing in deep sanitization, and especially during this COVID-19 experience. Can you tell us more about what that looks like?
Yeah, we've been very blessed this year. I must say, like I've told many people, our business has never been glamorous or sexy in the past. It's been viewed as an expense item. But during this time of the pandemic, we've been doing a lot of deep cleans, COVID cleans where there's COVID positive. We have a unique spray disinfection process called EnviroShield. That's an electrostatic spray technology. And you've probably seen some of that with the airline industry and things that manufacturers have cropped up in the last 9 months or so. But we've been doing that process for 10 years. So we were not new. So we were really well positioned to provide that service from the get-go in terms of our equipment and product chemicals and stuff.
Wow. So, you guys, obviously I know about the service because we hired you to come down and take a look at the Salt Lake Masonic Temple downtown, and we purchased some product from you, as well as one of those, not guns per se, but those chemical type guns that's been working quite well, and we appreciate that. Yeah. So in essence, you guys stepped into 2020 totally prepared.
Yes. Yeah, we had no shortage supply of the equipment. We had enough to handle all the needs of our clients and even some extra non-janitorial clients, if you will, as well as the chemical. We were able to have adequate sourcing, and that's one of the values of being part of an organization like JanPro that's in almost every state and in several countries, as you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us a little bit more about, regarding this sort of chemical process. From what I remember you telling me is that it's environmentally safe. It doesn't corrode furniture and that kind of stuff. Can you sort of elaborate a little bit more on that? So if someone watching this says, hey, you know what, I've got a facility that needs this, they can reach out to you and feel fully confident. Sure.
So the EPA registers disinfectants in 4 categories, with category 1 being bleach, which we know is the most harmful, the most toxic, and the most damaging to surfaces. The product we use is a hospital grade category 4 disinfectant, which means there's no harmful effects if you get it on your skin, ingest it, get it in your eyes or such. But it's very effective against many bacteria, viruses, and fungus. The original products were designed originally to be in water treatment. So they were going to kill all the bugs that we prepare our water for. So that's why they're safe but effective.
Oh, that's very, very good stuff to know. So, so moving into the future, then let's say, I'm totally optimistic that we're going to be able to at least move past or on some level from this coronavirus 19. Can you tell us if someone wanted to utilize that particular service for disinfectant? That stuff is also good for your common flus and that kind of stuff, all those types of germs that can break down. Is that right?
Yeah, it's proven effective against H1N1, all the swine flu viruses, as well as all the envelope viruses, which the coronavirus is part of. And so it's very effective against MRSA, E. coli, C. diff, so many of the bad bugs that are in our environment that we deal with every day. Absolutely.
That's extremely good to know, because I think that in the future, I think that for the most part, people are going to be a lot more cognizant just in terms of the idea of germs and viruses and those types of things. So I think that that service is still going to be absolutely imperative, even post-COVID, because, showing up to an event, you don't want to have people even spreading the common flu around.
Absolutely. And, I think it is. I agree with you. I think it is one of those things that one of the good things that's come out of it is it's raised the awareness of what a clean and healthy facility feels and looks and smells like. And I think what we're seeing is a change in our industry and the image of our industry, where people are no longer customers, or prospects are no longer leaving the health and safety of their clients and employees to low bid. And so we're seeing a number of customers come on board that, like I said earlier, want and value a good quality cleaning company and effort.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point there too, because you don't want to chance that kind of stuff. The thing that I sort of seeing for the future is that when we start getting back to a lot of like concerts and that kind of stuff, I'm anticipating that a lot of these shows and concert halls and that kind of stuff will utilize your type of service, or they should. So anybody watching this, if you run an event space, definitely check with Tom, because if you're going to have, tightly packed, 300 or 400 or maybe a few thousand or more people, it's a great idea to have someone like you guys come in and disinfect and just really get everything cleaned up on a granular level before they start packing a bunch of people in.
Absolutely. And, and it could be done while people are in. It's safe enough that it could be, the technology is such that it can be applied while people are in close proximity without affecting them as well. So touch-ups, and the cool thing is it has the electrostatic technology allows, so it has a wraparound effect 75 times that of gravity. So it'll disinfect areas that we wouldn't normally wipe in our janitorial. Maybe it's the underside of a table or the chair arms or counters and things like that.
Yeah. So. Wow, that's very interesting, because, and the other thing too is that utilizing some of the tools you guys have, it actually makes that process move fairly quickly. So you don't need to dedicate hours and hours of deep cleaning underneath surfaces. You can utilize that sort of that chemical gun. I call it chemical gun. Is there a better way of you calling it?
It's just a. It's not really a gun. It's just a machine. Really.
Yeah, chemical machine.
It's a container with a pump on it and a spray nozzle, I guess. From a simplistic farm boy perspective, I guess.
That's perfect. So what it boils down to is that an organization or a facility can reach out to you and either have you do it, or they can buy the equipment from you as well as the chemicals. Am I correct in saying so?
Yeah, for the most part, we're doing the service ourselves. Depending on the client and the usage and the environment, we would sell equipment. Like you mentioned earlier, you have your in-house cleaning staff. It only makes sense for you guys to have that equipment.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So then let me ask you this. I know that JanPro is all over the world, and I know all over the state of Utah. But geographically speaking, are there any other areas in Utah that aren't really touched? Or is there any geographic locations that are more specific that you guys work in?
For the most part, probably 95% of our business is from Logan to Payson along the Wasatch Front here. We do some work down in Washington County, St. George area. We're in the process of trying to locate or find a franchise prospect down there. We'd love to have somebody down in the St. George area. It's a great growth area, as you well know, and could provide some great opportunity for a couple individuals down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys also cover Tooele and Park City and
Yes.
beyond there?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. So then as far as let's just sort of touch for a few moments on the idea of who is your perfect client, or in essence, who makes a good referral for your business. Now, for you, of course, we're in essence talking about two different types of clients. So, I mean, someone who's got an office building that's watching this interview, that client is going to be the one that's needing the janitorial and or sanitization services. Whereas maybe speaking with you direct, there might be the client that is looking at transitioning from their current business or job and wanting to maybe take a look at franchise opportunities. Am I correct in saying that there may be two different types of people watching this?
That is correct. We do have two customers, and they buy a JanPro cleaning and disinfecting franchise. We're the JanPro development arm of JanPro, and then they're the cleaning and disinfecting side of the business. But yeah, in terms of ideal customers, majority of our market share that we have is in banks and credit unions, medical facilities, and property management firms. That accounts for about 35% of our overall revenue. We do work for Zions Bank and several others, and several of the medical. We do surgical centers. Do terminal cleans in those, and then obviously the major property managers that are in the state of Utah.
Okay, that was actually going to be a question that I asked earlier and I forgot. So you do handle medical facilities. Would that look like anywhere from like private practice all the way to maybe mid-level, or do you guys actually handle hospitals and that type of stuff as well?
We're not currently handling any hospitals at this point. They're all in-house for the most part. I think at some point down the road, we'll see them start to outsource. We've seen that in other parts of the country. And as we know, things are a little bit slow to get to Utah. And I think we'll see that happen here over the next 5 to 10 years. But yeah, we'll do private practices, multiple doctor offices, like I said, imaging centers, surgical centers, endoscopy centers. So,
okay. And then I'm assuming also dental facilities and all those types of things as well.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
And we have it's interesting you bring that up, but we have designed a specific program for our franchise owners called MedMetrics. So it's a separate certification that we developed along with operative nurse and OSHA and the CDC to make sure that we're covering all the right protocols. And anybody who cleans any medical facility would be required to go through that certification and get certified.
Oh, interesting. So there's actually a certification from the CDC that you're saying to be able to even go in and properly clean some of those places, or?
It's not directly from the CDC. It's something that we developed, but we took all the CDC information in developing our program, along with the Operative and Nurses Association and a couple of other organizations.
Okay, that's phenomenal. I mean, that'll give someone a peace of mind that you guys have really done a deep dive within what the CDC guidelines and requirements are. So if they hire you guys, they know that they're getting the job done right the first time.
Yeah. That's correct. And it's pretty impressive when we go to a prospect, a medical client, and talk to them and we bring our MedMetrics training materials. It's pretty impressive for them to see, because they don't see that a lot, from other organizations.
Nice. Yeah, I bet. Okay, so just to double check on the two, in essence, customer segments, you're looking for people who are needing janitorial and sanitization within their commercial spaces, and then anybody who is interested in a franchise opportunity, they can both reach out to you. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And on average, on the second part, the second customer, I think personally, 75% of people at some point in their life dream about owning their own business and becoming an entrepreneur, right? But what happens in that thought process is their subconscious kind of taps them on the back of the head and says, time out. Do you really know everything you need to know to pull this off? Do you have the stomach to do it? Are you risk tolerant enough? How do you go to customers? What if customers don't pay? All those sorts of things. So a lot of people in that decision process say, no, I'm out. But that's kind of what we do for them as their mentors is we provide and take care of a lot of those headaches for them in getting into business. So we make it very easy transition for them.
Perfect. Okay, so that's definitely the quintessential turnkey opportunity.
Yeah, and we've had everybody from lawyers and CPAs buy franchises from us to fairly new immigrants to the country and refugees. So it's quite varied in who would buy a franchise from us. I think most people don't think about getting into the cleaning business, but it is pretty lucrative. And we have many franchise owners been with us for 10, 15, a couple up to 20 years now.
Wow, so that's amazing. Well, something that I've always personally thought about throughout the years, honestly, is I've always actually held a very high level of respect for janitors in general. And the reason for that is because they're, to a large extent, the ones keeping us safe. Right. People don't really think a lot about that, but it's not just a matter of changing out the toilet paper and making sure there's soap in the dispenser. They're actually doing the cleaning that is keeping us safe, even from your common cold and flu viruses and those types of things. So, I've always held the concept of janitorial service and janitors in general on a pedestal. They do phenomenally important work. And shout out to all janitors out there, whether you're with Jan Pro or you're the janitor down the street of the office facility, shout out for sure.
Absolutely. They're just as essential in many aspects, much like the healthcare workers or the first responders in helping get through this pandemic time, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I had a couple of prospects tell me one time, Tom, make sure that you tell your franchise owners and their employees how important the work is that they do. And that always stuck with me, and I've never forgotten that. And so oftentimes I'll share that with prospects and our franchise owners when they're struggling, a little bit, as they often sometimes will do.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool to hear from a client, because we don't always hear that,
Yep, exactly. That is really cool. I like that a lot. And for anybody watching this show, next time you're in any kind of a facility and you see a janitor walking down the hall, make sure you give them well, maybe not a high five yet because we're still in COVID, but an air high five. Tell them that you appreciate their work because they're literally frontline workers and they're doing some phenomenal work out there. So shout out to them. Cool. So tell me a little bit more about how a potential client would get a hold of you, whether they are getting a hold of you to learn a little bit more about franchising or to have their facilities cleaned.
Yeah, they can call our office number at 801-892-0110 or my email address at tom.richter@jan-pro.com. And either way, we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can.
That's awesome. So, Tom, I want to ask you just one more thing. What is it that inspired you to be such an amazing person in terms of being a community supporter and wanting to help people? Where does that come from for you?
I think it really stems from my childhood, being raised on a farm, not having a lot. We had we had everything we needed, but we didn't have a lot. We made do with what we had. And mom and dad instilled in all of us kids to respect that. And given the opportunity to pay it forward, that's what I think they ask us to do somehow, some way. And so I think it was just inbred in us at a very early age to be of service to the community and give back when you can, and use your skill sets to help other people, and so it's and we've been blessed this year, like I said, so we've been able to do that, and we'll continue doing so as long as I'm around. And I'm sure Ryan, our son, will take over the business one day, will carry that torch forward as well.
That's awesome. I love that. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And then also, I like to wrap up the show by asking, what is one of your favorite songs, or one of your favorite quotes, or both?
Oh, favorite quotes. There's so many. I have my Tommy's Tuesday tips that I share every Tuesday on all my social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, but one of the latest ones, and it kind of ties into music. And I don't know who came up with it, but we've been listening to a lot of Michael Franti lately, and he has a song and a quote and T-shirts and hats, and the quote is "Work hard and be nice to people."
I love that.
And if you think about it, it's so simplistic, but yet so powerful. And in this age where we see people fighting and bickering for no reason, and then people feeling entitled, if you just work hard and be nice, that goes a long way.
It literally goes a long way, for sure, and it's amazing because it's usually the most simple things that are the most impactful. But we as humans, we think that to make some kind of a big impact, that we have to do a whole series of ultra complicated things. If you just strip the complication out and keep things simple, it's amazing how much you can get done and how many people you can help.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and it makes you feel good emotionally, and it just allows your mindset to carry forward and carry on in a very positive way, and that's how I get my motivation, quite honestly. So
that's awesome. I really appreciate your words across the board, and your Tommy. It's called Tommy's Tip Tuesday, right?
Tommy's Tuesday Tips. Tommy's
Tuesday Tips. I always try to catch those. So if you're not following Tom on social media, definitely hit him up. He's always sharing some really great ideas and thoughts. So be sure to hit him up on LinkedIn and Facebook and all the fun stuff. Tom, this has been a real pleasure having you on Always the Journey TV today. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you, Jason, from the bottom of my heart. It's been fun. I thoroughly enjoy being part of it, and our relationship that we've been able to build. It's been pretty cool, actually.
Absolutely. Thank you. Cool. Yeah. Well, while I go to wrap up the show, I'm gonna have you hang out in the green room for just a few moments. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Thanks.
All right. Hey, you're welcome, brother. We'll talk to you here in just a second.
Sounds great.
So there you go, my friends. My man Tom Richter. Definitely check him out at Jan Pro. You can hit him up on email or give him a call. And here is the phone number that you can call them at. If you're in need of janitorial for your commercial space or sanitization for your commercial space, these guys are the place. They can help you across the board there. And Tom, like I said, definitely check out all the information underneath this channel to learn all about the different and amazing things that he does within the community. But thank you very much for joining us on the show today and spending your time learning about these people and these in the community. There's some amazing people out there. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Throw us a thumbs up on the content if you enjoyed it. And if you've got any questions, throw them in the comment section below. I'll answer to the best of my ability. And if I don't have the answer, I know Tom does. So thank you very much for your timing, and I wish you an amazing week. This is New Year week going into 2021. So much love to you, and good luck for the new year. Take care.